All right, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome to your tutorial on how to use the Apollo 8 interfaces that we have here at McGavick Audio. The Apollo 8s are made by a company called Universal Audio, or UAD. It's extremely important that you know how to use these interfaces in order to be independent in the studio. If you don't know how to use these, obviously you could end up breaking something, and obviously I will not let you run that studio on your own, this studio on your own. So anyway, let's get right into it. This here is the Apollo 8. Okay, here's a good picture of it. Let's go to the live feed of the Apollo 8. And right here, you'll notice that this knob, this is a preamp knob. Okay, this is your gain knob for whatever channel you have selected. Okay, so notice when I press down on this button or on this knob, you can press down on it. Watch what happens right here on the number 1 when I press down on it. See that? It's going to go to channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, and back to channel 1. Now you're probably asking why it doesn't go to 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's because there are no internal preamps here. Okay, so when you're pressing this button, you're changing to the channel, but you're also changing to that preamp. Okay, in order to use channel 5, 6, 7, and 8, you need to use external preamps, and that's why we have the Neve 500 series box on the right hand side. So again, this is your preamp knob, okay, for the channel you have selected. So I'm gonna go to channel 2 because I'm on channel 1, and if I turn that up, it's gonna bring up the volume. Let's go to channel 2. When I turn this, it's going to bring up the volume for only channel 2, the preamp in channel 2. Okay, this volume is your gain, your incoming gain. This is your recording volume. Okay, so if somebody's in the studio and they tell you they can't hear themselves very good, but you have a good level on the recording side, do not bring up this preamp. Okay, remember, pre and post, we talked about all these things. Anyway, preamp is going to be the volume, the gain knob for whatever channel you have selected. Okay, so let's go to this input button. If you have a guitar plugged into the back of the interface, right, and it's a TRS cable, see where it says mic right here? Obviously, it's not going to work. So I have a microphone plugged into this channel 1, right? But if I press input, watch what happens. See how it went to line and my voice went dead? Because now it thinks that there's a TRS cable in there, and it switches to TRS or 1/4 inch mode. So if I had a electric guitar in there and I start playing it and I don't hear anything, I need to check the input. And if it says mic, you click on it and it goes to line, and then I'll be able to hear that guitar. This button right here should be self-explanatory. Y'all know that this is the phantom power button plus 48. You know that if you have a condenser microphone and you don't have that red light on, you're not going to be able to hear anything. So all you have to do is push that button, and boom, all of a sudden your condenser microphone will have audio. This button right here, you should know it by now. This is your polarity button. This is extremely important when you're cutting drums. Remember, this is how you fix your phase issues. This is the polarity button. All you do is turn it on and off, and then you check for your phase and all that good stuff. We talked about that. You should know what that is. That is the that is the polarity button. This button right here has an icon above it. You should know what that icon is by now. It's the high pass filter. So if you have a low end hum in the background, or if someone has a really bassy vocal or that kind of thing, all you have to do is press that high pass, and it will take out some of the low end so that you can not have to deal with that later on when you're done recording. All right, so this is your pad button. The pad button is going to minimize the incoming signal by a certain amount of dB. So let's first of all, this pad button is going to be minus 15 dB. So let's say that you're recording drums and your kick drum is really loud, and you have your gain, your recording volume down pretty low, and it's still loud. You can press the pad button. that's going to allow you to then have a minus dB start point, and then you can control that volume on the kick drum a little bit more from the preamp. Okay, that gives you a little more volume control by minimizing the incoming signal by 15 dB. This link button right here is pretty self-explanatory. So look right here where it says 1. Let's say that I wanted to record in stereo, and I wanted both channels to have the same settings. I could hit link, and notice how that was 1 and 2. It linked channel 1 and 2 together. Look, link. That's what it does. So link, the link button links channels together. Okay, so let's go to the far right side of the interface. On this side is basically your monitoring. Okay, so meter is just going to allow you, this button right here just allows you to see the metering of your signals for your tracks. Alt stands for alternate, and what this does is, you know how we have 4 speakers plugged into the studio? The big speakers are going to be green. They're going to be in the main monitors, and if you press the alternate button, watch what happens to that color. It changes to orange. So anytime you hit alternate, that's going to go to the small speakers, and when you turn alternate off and it's green, it's going to go back to the big speakers. This monitor knob obviously is the volume knob for both sets of speakers. Okay, so again, if you go to alternate, that's going to bring up the volume up and down. If you go to green, which is main monitors, that's going to bring the volume up and down. Okay, these knobs right here have headphones above them. What does that mean? I know what that means. That means that this is going to be headphone jack 1 and headphone 2. So you only get 2 headphone inputs or outputs, and obviously it says headphones down here at the bottom. You have 2. Now we have 2 of these audio interfaces. If we had the second one in here, 1 and 2, and then on the bottom it would say 1 and 2, it would actually be headphone 1, headphone 2. And since both interfaces are linked together, then the next one would be 3 and 4. So then you'd have 4 different 4 different headphones that you could go out to.